Alright, the first thing I wanted to show you was how to use the pen tool. This is going to be the main tool that you're going to use for the monogram assignment. Alright, the pen tool is very simple. You just click and let go, and that makes a series of points that are connected by straight lines. You can also, in addition to clicking and letting go, which creates a regular point, corner point, you can click and drag, and when I first click you'll see a straight line is created, but as I drag a pair of handles comes out of that point and that distorts the line. Notice the line still connects to the original point and then the new point, and these handles just distort it. Actually, just one of these handles is distorting it. The next one is going to, this one here is going to distort the line that comes after. So I'll click over here, just click and let go for a regular corner point, and see that line is also being distorted by this handle. You can use the white arrow to select any individual point. I'll take this one. You can move the point. You can move the handles. See how the handles change the distortion of that line. You can also click down on the pen tool and hold, and you'll see some other tools that are available to you. One of them is the Convert Anchor Point tool. And with this tool, I can click on a curved point like this one with handles and let go, and it turns it into a regular corner point. I can also click on a regular corner point like this is now, click and drag, give it handles, and now it's become a curved point. Okay, those are the main uses of the pen tool. Select these and delete. And now I'm going to show you some things you can do with type. I'm going to click, type the letter S. I'll actually do my initials here. And to start the assignment, you can take your initials, put them into a cursive font maybe, or something that has a little bit of character to it. And I'm going to type, create outlines. And now this has basically become a series of points, corner points and curved points, just like we would do. Okay, and now you can do several things to this to modify it to make it look more decorative. Okay, you can cut your tool, your type here. Let me see. I have normally this shows, I think, the eraser tool here. So if you click and hold down, you can get the knife tool. And with the knife tool, you can slide across some type here. And now what I've done is, when I click on this with the black arrow, I get the whole shape, all of this. But when I click on with a white arrow, I can get individual letters, or because now I've sliced this S, I can get the individual parts for that. Okay, so now I've cut that off. The reason I did that is because I want to modify it here. So I'm going to take my pen tool, and I'll click somewhere around here and drag, and it gives me a curved point. And I'll click over here, and this is just going to be a matter of practice to get used to this curve, to the pen tool rather. Okay, you can also click on the same point that you just ended on, and that sort of turns off one of the handles, so that when you come to your second point, it doesn't create a big loop. And now I'll come over here, and I'll come over somewhere around here. That's not too bad. And you can come back in with the white arrow, grab points, modify them. Okay, so now I've changed my S. You can also, I'm going to make a big curve now. Let's see. I'm going to do it from here. Click and let go. Click and let go. So I'm making a series of curves here. There. Now it's filled with black and stroked with none, so it's not too good looking. I'll switch this around. A little bit easier to see my type now. I can come back in with a white arrow and make these a lot nicer here. I think I'm actually going to get rid of this point. If you take up the pen tool and you hover over a pre-existing point, like right here, you see how you get the little minus? So I can take away that point. Basically, the way the pen tool works with curves is the fewer points you have, the nicer your curves. It's also usually better to have your handles a little bit more even on any particular curve. So this curve here, notice how this one is very short and this one is longer. I'm going to try and even these out a little bit. Yeah, it's much better. Okay, so I've had a secondary stroke here just to give me some flair. All right, now I'm going to apply some weight to the stroke because right now it's just a thin 1-point stroke. I'll select it. I can make it a little bit thicker. But it's still very even, just mono weight, same weight all the way through. And one thing we can do is we can apply a stroke that has variation in it to this. So I'm going to do a thin to thick to thin stroke. So all I'm going to do is up here somewhere up above, just draw a straight line. Click, and hold down the Shift key, click and drag, and then hold down the Shift key and click. And then I'm going to come over here and click and drag and click to close. And I'll switch my line, so fill in my stroke. And I'll take my 2 center points, I'm going to highlight just those two and I'll move them up a little bit. Something like that. All right, I'm going to zoom in on this. And I don't want it to come to a hairline. Right now it comes to a tip that's so sharp it's going to become almost invisible and fade out. So I'm going to click that and I want to give it a little bit of curve to the end. So what do? I select the Convert Anchor Point tool and click. And I want to make sure I don't do this the wrong way. This way. There we go. And I'll zoom in on the other one and do the same thing. Click with the Convert Anchor Point tool. Notice if I do it this way, it's wrapping around itself. If you look on the left edge, I'm going to do it this way. There's no overlap now. That's what I want to do. Okay. Alright, so now I've made my shape. It starts out thin, gets thick in the middle, and then gets thin again. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it into my brush palette. Right over here is my brush palette. There's a series of predefined brush shapes. I'm going to grab my new shape and drag it over to the palette. And I want it to become a new art brush. And I'll say OK. And it goes along the direction, which is great. I'll just say OK to that. You could give it a name and everything. I'm not going to bother. And now I'll delete it. So there it is over here now in my brush palette. And I'm going to take my new stroke here, this one that has just a 2-point weight applied to it evenly. Going to get rid of that now. I'm going to apply this new stroke here. Let me close that palette. Okay, so now you can see that it's applied thin to thick and then back to thin weight all over the whole thing. But it's still just a single line. It doesn't actually have a thickness to it as far as the structure goes. Let me just modify this a little bit. Alright, and that's all we're going to be doing. So you can make new strokes, you can apply custom brush shapes to them, you can slice parts of your letter once you've taken your letter and converted it to outlines. You can do all sorts of things. I'm going to take this now actually and make a copy. I'll Option drag. And then I'm going to cut this, not with the knife tool because it's not a solid shape, it's just a single stroke. So I'm going to use, let's see, Actually, well, use this. Yeah, it won't work. I'm going to use, oh, I'm sorry, my scissors. Senior moment. All right, so right there, I'll cut. Now notice when I cut my line here, each half of it got the thin to thick to thin treatment. So I'll take this one out of the way for now. I'll put this one over here. And then maybe I'll just shrink a little bit. All right, and that's it. And so we have the pen tool, we have scissors and knife to modify shapes. You can take your type, convert it to outlines. You can use the custom brush shapes. And that's a lot of what we will be doing. The one other thing I'll show you, I didn't use it in this particular example. There might be times where you're going to want to combine shapes. For instance, here, I'll use it here. Remember where I added on my S? I modified, I added a second shape. So here's my original cut off, and then my new addition. I can take these two, highlight them both, and use the Pathfinder tools. And I'm going to say Unite. And I'll hide that. So now this has basically become one shape, which makes it a lot easier to deal with. All right. And that's it. Good luck with your monogram. I hope to see a good one.